The Seattle Seahawks have played some horrible football over the past 6 quarters. Ever since the second quarter of the Titans game in Week 2, the Seattle Seahawks have looked bad, both offensively and defensively. There have been some glimpses of success, but overall, very negative when it comes to how the team has been playing as a whole over the past 6 quarters. And today, I want to talk about not the players. I want to talk about, especially defensively, the coaching and the front office. I believe that is the problem that we're dealing with. Now, I hate Trey Flowers as much as the next guy, but when you consistently see a problem around every single corner on the team for multiple years, multiple seasons, where we're just giving up way too much space and letting deep catches happen, like 10, 15, 20-yard catches, where the defender is about 10, 15 yards off of the guy as he catches the ball, at some point you have to blame the scheme more than you blame the players. However, before we get into that, it's time to make fun of Trey Flowers. Now take a look at this. You see this Vikings play. You notice it's a passing play. Kirk Cousins, he's already passed the ball. The ball's in the air. Kirk Cousins has already let go of it. Bobby Wagner, he tried his best. Now you see Justin Jefferson coming into frame. Now let's just hit. Boom. He catches the ball. No one in sight. The fans are probably closer than any of our corners are as he catches the ball. But just you wait. We hit play for a couple more seconds. You see the guy that was supposed to be covering him, Trey Flowers, he comes into frame and he's still about 8 yards back and he has no chance of catching back up. What is he doing what is he doing right here? When Justin Jefferson catches the ball, you can kind of see him. How is he this far back? How? I don't know. But it's fun to make fun of Trey Flowers, and I'm going to make a whole video on him because he has said some pretty wild things after this last game, and I want to focus on that a little bit more. But today I'm going to be talking about Ken Norton and the front office, Pete Carroll, the coaching, all that when it comes to our defensive failures over the past few games. Now, first things first, we're going to talk about Ken Norton. Now, I believe Ken Norton may be on the chopping block. He may need to be fired because Ken Norton, I'm pretty sure he's been fired from multiple NFL teams, but the Seattle Seahawks just really love the guy for some ungodly reason. Now, I know a lot of people like to defend Ken Norton and say that this is on player execution, but how long is player execution going to be completely abysmal? Over the past few seasons, every single game it seems like we are consistently playing deep coverage. We're staying like super far off of the receivers, letting them get those 10, 15-yard catches and just hoping we tackle them. And that's kind of what's been leading to the long drives that ruins the game. You let a guy get a first down easily. You let a guy get 12 yards on a catch while the defender's about 5 yards back off of him. Yeah, you make the tackle. You don't give up the big play, but you let up consistent moving drives where teams are taking up a lot of time, playing a lot of snaps, getting the defense tired. The offense comes back on the field after that, no momentum, and then you stall, and then the defense comes back out and then looks horrible. And that's what's been happening the past few games. We haven't done anything really when it comes to any defensive stops. I mean, we've had a couple good defensive stops, but that mainly comes in the run game. Our run defense has been pretty solid with the bear front, but just in general, our passing defense has not looked great this year, and it hasn't really looked great recent years. Last year, it was one of the worst in the entire league until the second half of the season when our pressure just got there like crazy. But I believe that this comes down to the front office and Ken Norton more than it does on the players. That being said, I do think Trey Flowers should be benched, but let's move on to why I believe that Ken Norton may need to be fired. Now, reason number one is his scheme. I've been talking about it this entire time. The defenders are staying way too far off their mans. It's just something that has consistently been the case. And this is something that has been a glaring issue for the past few seasons. And, we've had a bit of a mixture of guys to come in at corner. We had Shaquille Griffin. He did the same thing. We've had DJ Reed. He's done the same thing. Trey Flowers. He's done the same thing. At some point, you can't blame the players. You have to blame the scheme and the coaching telling them to do that. And I'm going to be taking a look at Matty F. Brown's tweet on what he believes is the way to fix the Seahawks defense. Now, I don't completely agree with this, but he says 3 things that he believes could fix the Seahawks defense: signing Richard Sherman, signing Geno Atkins, and becoming a rush 4, drop 7, cover 3 team again. Now, I'm pretty sure we played a lot of cover 3 when we were very successful on defense, the Legion of Boom, the Super Bowl days, but we don't have the talent that we did back then, so that might possibly be an issue. But the 5-man bear fronts, although it's great for stopping the run, how long do you want to give up these really easy catches that extend drives? Would you rather give up a little bit more in the run game to possibly stop the pass game? Boy, howdy, I'd sure love to see that, because the run game seems to be doing whatever it wants anyway, because we get so tired, because the pass game creates these long drives because they're consistently getting second and third down conversions because we let up these really easy 10, 12-yard catches. Now, this is something that I don't fully agree with because, Geno Atkins, I believe our defensive line has been good enough. We've seen Poona Ford play well. We've seen Brian Monet play well. I mean, we don't fully need to get another defensive tackle. I think we'd be okay. We're probably going to be trading LJ Collier. He has, I don't know what's going on with him, but he looks like he's going to get traded. So maybe we do end up signing Geno Atkins. I don't believe we're going to sign Richard Sherman. I think we should. We need some change at corner, whether that's putting in someone that's lower down on the depth chart instead of Trey Flowers, or signing Richard Sherman. But it doesn't seem like the Seahawks have interest in signing Richard Sherman. But the whole cover three, at least drop more people into coverage, and by God, play closer up. If you're going to get toasted, that's fine. Just don't play 10 yards off the receiver. That is probably the worst thing to see as a Seahawks fan. It is so annoying when you see Justin Jefferson make like a 15-yard catch and Trey Flowers is trying to catch up when he's like 10 yards behind the guy. And I mean, it's not just Trey Flowers, so that's why I believe it's scheme. And now the second reason that I believe it's on the front office, Ken Norton. I believe that maybe Ken Norton should be fired. I don't know if this is fully on Ken Norton or on Pete Carroll, but the players they decide to throw out on the defense, and I'm mainly talking about Trey Flowers here. What are they doing? We've traded for Sidney Jones. We signed Ahkello Witherspoon and traded him away. We traded for John Reed. We signed Bless Austin, and we haven't given any of them chances. Trey Flowers played 100% of the defensive snaps in yesterday's game. Why? He wasn't playing good. He was playing pretty gosh darn bad, and we just let him continuously go in there and get cooked by whatever receiver he was covering. He could cover a kid in a wheelchair, and that kid would probably go for 210 yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, it's just completely disappointing when you see Trey Flowers, although I'm not going to place all the blame on him, he's not playing good. And you don't make any single adjustment when it comes to putting some other player in. That's just super confusing to me. And while we're on the topic of adjustments, reason number 3 why I believe Ken Norton, Pete Carroll are the reasons to blame is the complete and utter lack of adjustments. It comes down to players, and it comes down to scheme. We don't try and change anything. We just do the same thing and hope it works. And Pete Carroll, for some ungodly reason, in his post-game press conference, will say, "We tried everything." Like, no, you didn't. You didn't try everything. You did the same thing the entire game. You left Trey Flowers out there to just fend for himself and get cooked by a kid in a wheelchair with no limbs that can't walk. And you don't even try and put someone else in. Like, at some point, you got to try something different. The literal definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. And that's exactly what Pete Carroll, Ken Norton, and the front office are doing right now. Now, although I believe that a change at defensive coordinator could probably be something that would help us, I'm going to blame this one a lot on the front office. It's the same thing that we did with the pass rush last year, where we were just like hoping for the best, get nobody, hope it works out. That's the same thing we did this year. We drafted Trey Brown. He's been injured the entire time. Maybe he'll come in and be a godsend. I don't know. But when it comes to what we've done over the offseason, we didn't do anything. Trey Flowers, we decided he was going to be a starter. We signed Ahkello Witherspoon, traded him away because he wasn't as good as we thought he was, and we didn't do any other moves other than that. We didn't get a real solidified corner. And I guess this was kind of the whole experiment of get a bunch of guys that might suck balls and just hope to God that the pass rush that we went crazy on getting guys in free agency and keeping guys that did good last year, hope they do well and really just kind of be the fallback option for our corners playing bad. It hasn't worked. And we traded for guys, like I said, John Reed, Sidney Jones. We signed Bless Austin. We haven't played them at all. Those guys have not had a single defensive snap. I believe John Reed may have had one. And I know a couple of the guys are playing on special teams. But why can we not just try these guys out? What if they actually play better than Trey Flowers, Like, if at some point, you can't blame the players anymore. And I think that's the point that we're getting to. For how bad Trey Flowers has been, the coaching and the front office has been worse. And that's just my personal opinion. Now, what do I think that we should do? I believe we should obviously trade LJ Collier. He's been a healthy scratch for 2 weeks now out of the 3 weeks of the season. He's not going to be playing for this team much longer. We're going to trade him before the trade deadline. And maybe we look to get an actual good corner. Sidney Jones, I think we should start him. Bench Trey Flowers, throw Sidney Jones, just throw him into the fire. I don't care if he's ready or not, put him in. He can't do worse than Trey Flowers is doing right now. You give somebody else a chance. That is the first thing. Make adjustments when it comes to the players. The second thing, make adjustments when it comes to the scheme. Last year, around halfway through the season, our defense was getting torched by the Bills, by every single team we played against in that mid-season frame, and we made that change. We made a scheme change where we made changes, and it worked spectacularly for our defense. But right now, with the way Pete Carroll is talking in his post-game press conferences, it doesn't seem like he wants to make any changes. Oh, we threw everything at them. What's stopping Sidney Jones from being a starter? Nothing's stopping him from being a starter. We'll look at everything. You're just brushing off every single problem that you have right now and just say, oh yeah, we're looking at everything. We gave them everything. The Vikings are not a better team than us. The Minnesota Vikings are not a better football team than the Seattle Seahawks. And we got absolutely dominated by Kirk Cousins, who is not a great quarterback. He's good, but he's not an amazing quarterback that we made him look like. Alexander Mattison, he's a backup for a reason, and he looked like the greatest running back in the history of the NFL against the Seahawks. Something is wrong with our defense, and it's not our players. It might somewhat be our players, but we have a lot of talent. When you have guys like Quandre Diggs, Jamal Adams, and DJ Reed, who was very good in the second half of the season for the Seahawks, looking as bad as they are right now, you can't blame it on the players at a certain point. And that's what I believe is the problem. We need to make changes, and we need to make them fast. I guess it's a good thing that we're completely pissing the bed early on in the season, so maybe we can let it dry and get a little bit better before the midway point. But oh my God, watching the Seahawks defense has been atrocious over the past 6 quarters. And I'm not going to say that that's not on the offense. The offense needs to execute better, because when the offense goes on the field after the defense just lets up an 18-play drive, of course, you're losing all your momentum. You're getting cold sitting there on the bench. You're not really staying warm. You're not really staying in a rhythm. But you have to go on the field and at least get your defense some rest. You can't go out there and get a 3 and out, especially on quick plays that really don't run any time off the clock, because it's a collection of everything that's going wrong for the Seahawks. And I believe it's more on the coaching than it is the players. And that's just my opinion. Let me know down below in the comments what you think is the problem with the Seahawks. Everyone loves to blame Trey Flowers, and I love to blame Trey Flowers too. It's fun. But at some point, you gotta blame it on other things. It's not the players at this point. It is on the coaching, and it is on the front office. There's things that need to be changed, and that need to be changed fast. And we'll see if those changes happen. We have no say. We just have to sit here and be in pain as the Seattle Seahawks don't make any changes. So let me know down below in the comments, like I said, what you think about Ken Norton being fired. Like, what are the things that the front office has done wrong? What can they do to fix it? Let me know down below in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and with that, I'd like to thank you for watching. Have a great day.